What's up everybody, welcome back. In today's video I want to have a look at playing upper body montages like reloading or firing your weapon. And it's going to be a pretty short video again because I made some changes to my setup and I want to make sure everything is working correctly. So I'm not going to record a 1-hour video to find out it's messed up. So probably a shorter video today, so let's just dive into it. So the first thing that we want to do is grab the weapon animations from the Lyra starter project. So let's open the Lyra starter game, and in here we're going to navigate to the content folder, weapons, and in here the animations are spread out over different folders. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new folder in here to migrate all the animations at once. So I'm going to call this migrated animations and then open the pistol animations folder, and I'm only interested in the weapon reload and the weapon fire animation. So I'm going to copy them into my newly created folder and do the same thing for the rifle and the shotgun. So grab both of the weapon mesh animations and copy them into the new folder. And then we are gonna migrate that new folder into our project. So right click and then migrate. Yeah, that's fine. And that's also fine. So let me double check the project. That should be another one. So, oh, there's too many projects in here. It should be this one. There we go. So now that we have the weapon animations in place, we need to set up the character montages. So let's go to our game project. So I'm not in the Lyra project anymore. And we're going to go to our character folder, and in here are all of the character animations. And I'm simply going to look for the fire animations. And in here should be the pistol fire, shotgun fire, and rifle. So pistol fire, and I'm gonna right click the pistol fire, create an animation montage. So the default name, that's fine, and then I'm gonna open this montage up. And it looks a bit weird, but it doesn't matter, it's an additive animation, so that's fine. The only thing we need to do in here is change the slot name to use the upper body slot. So there's all kinds of slots on our skeleton by default. We can use them, so if your skeleton doesn't have any slots, you can go to the animation slot manager and simply add a slot, give it a name, and that's all you really need to do. So we created the pistol fire montage, and I'm going to do the same thing for the shotgun and the rifle. So shotgun and rifle, right click, create animation montage. And then I'm going to open them both up and set both of them to use the upper body slot. And by the way, for our fire montages, we also want to make sure that we change the blend times. So over here in the blend in and blend out settings, by default they are set to 0.25, and the entire animation only lasts 0.5 seconds. So it will be blending in and out the entire animation, so we're going to lose a lot of the actual animation. So I'm going to shorten the blend in and blend out times for all of the fire animations to 0.1 second. There we go, and now there's only the pistol one left. So let's search for pistol fire. And that should also be 0.1. There we go. And now there's only the reload montages left. So again, I'm going to search for all of the reload animations, and I'm going to select the pistol reload, the shotgun reload, and the rifle reload. Right click and create an animation montage again. Default naming should be fine. So I'm going to open up all three of them and make sure all three of them are set to my upper body slot again. Upper body, and the pistol reload also set to upper body. So there we go. So we have the animations and montages set up. So now let's go to our project settings over here, and we want to create an input for reloading. So let's go to the input settings and let's add a new action mapping, and this one is going to be for reloading. And I'm going to use the R key on my keyboard. So that's good to go as well. So now all we need to do is set up the actual events in the character. So before we dive into our character, let's open up the animation blueprint, and inside the animation blueprint we're gonna go into the animation graph, and over here we need to add a slot node to define where we want to play the animation montages. So let's first look for a slot node. That should be this one, so slot default slot. And when you have this node selected, on the right side over here you can select all of the slots available for your skeleton. So over here we're gonna select our upper body slot again, and the position where we place this node will actually determine what will happen to the animation. So the name of this slot doesn't really do anything, and there's no settings in here either. So we could have named this left leg or head, it doesn't really matter. We named it upper body, but the position of this slot node inside of the animation graph will determine what happens with the montages. So because we only want to play these on the upper body, we need to put this slot node before our layered blend per bone. And if we plug it into the lower pin over here, this will play on the upper body. So if we put it over here, and then we have our aim offset after the layered blend per bone, so this will also make our fire and reload animations point up and down along with the aim offset. So if we place it in this position, everything should work pretty good. So keep in mind where you place this does actually matter. So if you place it after your aim offset, for example, it won't use the aim offset, so the animation will only play normal. And if you place it all the way at the beginning, it won't use the layer blend per bone, so it will play a full body montage. So keep that in mind. So we have the slot node in place, and now we can finally dive into our character. And first let's set up our fire animation. So we have a really simple fire event over here, and we're gonna expand on that. So to make sure that everybody in the game actually sees our montage play, we need to use a multicast event. So everything for cosmetics like FX or sounds or animations, montages, things like that are usually not replicated. So you need to replicate them yourself. And the best way to do it using a multicast event, so the server sends the call to all players in the game. But there is one downside to a multicast event, and that is that only the server can call it. So if we are the client, we need to tell the server to call the multicast event for us. So the first thing we are going to do is create a new custom event and call this Play Fire Montage. And we're going to keep this a normal event that's not replicated at all. And then we're going to create a second custom event, and that's called Server Fire Montage. For this event, we're going to set it to replicate to run on server. And then we're going to create a third custom event, and that's the Multicast Fire Montage. And we're also going to set this to replicate it, but this is a multicast event, and as the explanation says, only the server can call this. So right now what we need to do is go to the first event we created, and I'm going to check for the has authority to see if we are the server or not. So the server can call the multicast event directly, so he can simply call the multicast fire montage. And if we are a client, we need to replicate this call to the server, so we're going to call the server function event, so that's server fire montage, and then the server will call the multicast event for us. So that's how a setup like that should work. If you want to play FX or play a montage or play a sound, then this is the setup you want to use. So for the server fire montage, we want to call the multicast event again, so multicast fire montage. And in the multicast event, we can actually play the animation. So in here, we're simply going to drag in our mesh, and we're going to play the montage. And that's our pistol fire montage. So we can look for it down here in the drop down, pistol fire. And then we also want to play the animation on the weapon mesh. So we're going to drag in the weapon mesh as well. And because we didn't create a montage for it, because we're not using animation blueprints or anything like that, I'm simply going to play the animation. So search for play animation and connect this to the upper pin over here. So this will execute immediately and the other pins are latent. So they will be executed when the montage is completed or when it's blending out, etc, etc. So in here we simply want to play the weapon animation. So that's the pistol fire, and then it's probably all the way down somewhere. So it's in the migrated animations folder. So this one. And that's really all we need to do. So if we compile this and then go to our fire weapon event, then we need to call this play fire montage event and the rest will be handled for us. So simply call fire montage and we should be good to go. So let's compile and save it and let's launch a multiplayer session. So set it as listen server 2 players. And if we have the little pin inside of the game mode connected, then we can launch in the editor. And now if I'm the client and I'm shooting my weapon, you can see the animations on the pistol mesh and on the actual character are playing. And they are also aiming up and down with the aim offset. And if I switch to my server, then that should work as well. So again, the animations on the arms as well as on the weapon mesh are playing for both sides. So that's working, that's nice. So again, we get a little error for the HUD because we are launching in editor, nothing to worry about there. So that's the actual fire animation setup. Let's continue also setting up our reload. So the reload is going to be pretty simple because it's not really going to do much yet, just play the montage. But let's just set it up to get it out of the way, and there is a few things I want to show along the way as well. So first let's grab our reload input event, and from here we want to check a boolean to make sure that we can't spam reloading. So I'm going to create a new boolean called isReloading. And first let's grab a branch over here and we want to check if we are not already reloading, and then we're gonna set this to true. So if it's false, set it to true, and then we're gonna simply play the montage. So we need to create our replicated events again. So let's create a custom event and call this play reload montage. And then for the second custom event, that's going to be server reload montage. And then the third one is our multicast event. So that's the multicast reload montage. So for the multicast, we want to set it to be replicated as a multicast event. The server one replicated to run on server. The server calls the multicast event, so multicast reload montage. For the normal event, we want to check if we are authority or not. If we are the server, we're going to call the multicast event directly. And if we are a client, we're going to tell the server to do it for us. So there we go. And now all we need to do is play the montage. So let's just grab these nodes from here. And we want to play the reload montage on the mesh. So reload, pistol reload. And obviously also on the weapon, so pistol reload. No. Let me see, migrated animation, so that's this one. And then for the uncompleted pin, we want to set our isReloading variable back to false again. So we are not actually replicating this, but this is a multicast event, so this will execute on all instances, and so this will also execute on the instance that's me, on my local instance again. So this will set it back to false even though the server calls it. So we don't have to actually worry about replication because it's inside of a replicated event over here. So this should pretty much do it for the reload. So let's check it in game. So right now, if I press my R key, nothing is happening, so that's nice. Because we need to call our play reload event over here. That would work a whole lot better probably. So right now I can actually reload my weapon. And as you can see, because of my aim offset, it will also work when I'm aiming up or down. So this actually looks quite decent. And that's also because we have the IK for our left hand in place with the virtual bone. So if you are using an IK with a fabric node, you will actually run into a problem over here where your left hand will still stay attached to your right hand because of the fabric node in your animation graph. And if you are actually using that, then you want to go into your animation blueprint and you want to make sure that you drive the alpha of the fabric node. So I don't actually have a fabric node in here, but it would be in here, and you would need to drive the alpha to set it to 0 while you are reloading. And there's also a little side note, because you are using an aim offset, this will actually displace the hands a little bit, and you will see some weird twisting in my elbow when I'm reloading up or down. Personally, I don't think it's really realistic to reload while you're aiming up in the sky. So what I would normally do is simply set my alpha for my aim offset to something like 0.5 or something like that when I'm reloading. So there will still be a little bit aim offset, but it will also level out the animation a little bit, so it won't be as much deformed. And personally, I think it's more realistic that way, but that's all personal preference. So yeah, whatever you like. So I think we are pretty much through. So that's how we can play an upper body montage and how we can make it replicate. So thanks for watching everybody. Hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you soon.